So I've got a problem that needs solving. Now I have this nice tin bar right here, and I don't know what to do with it. It's just laying around, just being lazy. I can't have that, quite frankly, because I need it to be efficient and earn its place in this household. So, me not being a really handy person, decided I would cast this really detailed 3D printed model as like a starter. And I guess I've made this video so you can look at it, laugh at me maybe a little bit, but not too much, and then just not do all the things that I do in this video, and you should be perfectly fine. So, without further ado, let's get to it. I'm no expert in video making, and I honestly never claimed to be, but time has come and I'm making a video, so it would be kind of good to get at least some experience. Now, I noticed quite soon making this video that I had some issues with the footage, so if you would check this little bit right here, you might catch it, you might not, but it is in fact shot in vertical mode, and that is my favourite way to film, so I guess I'll just shoot all my video in vertical from now on. Okay, maybe I asked for help, so you can all thank Jay here that you don't have to suffer through just horizontal footage, but later in the video it gets better, I promise. Ah, peak comedy. And it's not even, the joke's not even correct, but I found it funny, so it's staying in. I'm making the videos here, you're watching them. Can't be that bad if you're still here. So, first things first, we need something to put the silicone and the mould into, and I know I have it around here oh, look, there it is, perfect. Like I placed it before the video, but I definitely keep all my little containers in here. For those of you who don't know, this is a 3D printer. Now, before you comment on my ugly wiring, it needs to be this way. I checked the manual, and it's exactly this way. You see, now take back your mean comment before I stuff you on my 3D printer. Now you may not know this, but a 3D printer actually only works if you're not looking at it, because it has this little chamber up on the gantry here, and the little workmen only come out if you don't look at it. So I'm just gonna turn my head, and oh, what's that? Is that my finished part that I placed here before because I forgot to film it printing? That must be it. All I have till now is this little aluminium beaker which I can cast my resin in, and I've ordered some of this silicone that you can actually pour molten tin into. At least it claims that, so we'll see if that works. But for now, I have no idea what I'm doing. I have my container right here, which I want to do the silicone casting into. So I'll take my 3D printer apart, and I know there might be a chance that if I just ask it really nicely, that it might just stay in there in the place that I want. But apparently it's going to act up today. So I've had a little chat with it off camera, but it still does not want to just stay. Now I figured this, and I have prepared a little solution, which is just me gluing some 3D printer filament to the back of it, making a little support, and that should then suspend the wolf's head nicely in the silicone. I appear to be pretty confident at the time, but yeah, we'll get to that. Okay, now that I have a plan, let's get everything and try and make it. So now I'm making the back brace for the wolf head, and obviously this is no good because it's all warped, and I have to heat it up. Now looking back at this during editing, I realise it looks a bit like a floppy spaghetti. And I could have probably just used fucking spaghetti for this. So yeah, that was a bit stupid. But it worked out in the end. I straightened it out a bit, and then it went well. And there we go. After holding it for like a minute, it's perfectly stiff, and I can now use it to glue it to the back of the wolf's head. So here we have it, and I'll get some glue, and then we'll get to it. And as you can see, I am just an incredibly handy person. Just generally, my hands are like, I can operate them so well. I can almost like open a door all by myself. Sometimes I need a little help, but mostly it's okay. I'm just putting a tiny little dot here. Now, I thought this was like super glue and pretty much instantaneously dried, but turns out that's not the case. So first I left it to dry a little bit, and then I thought it was cured, but it really hadn't. But we'll come to that. Here it is, all cured up, and now comes the part where I have to test if it actually works. And to my surprise, it balanced absolutely perfectly, so I didn't have to do anything else. As you can see, it just actually is perfectly face down. I was really surprised because I figured it would like not tip down that well, but I mean it's perfect, so I don't even have to bother with anything else. Now next step is pouring the silicone. Now to pour the silicone I have this manual which is in German, which I can't really do much with, but I should figure it out. I have to have a 1-to-1 ratio. Now the problem is I have two tubes here, so I got no chance of knowing which one needs to be one and which one needs to be the other one. I have everything set up now for where I can pour, and I realized that I have to measure somehow how much of which one I need, but I can't put it in there straight away because I might mess up the ratio. So I figured I'd use some water and pour it in and then measure it. Then I realized that if I want to measure water in this beaker, I can't have any water left in it, so I had to pour that out and then pour the liquid from the little cast form back into the measuring beaker. And you can see me here very delicately taking it out and pouring it into the measurement cup. But as you can see, apparently there's not even water in it. I don't know what happened, I don't know where it went, but I guess I'll just have to figure out another way to get the correct measurement. Now we finally get to the fun, and honestly for me most nerve-wracking part, because if I mess this up, I have to wait another 2 weeks for fresh silicone, and I really don't have that time because I kind of need it made, because it's not just a project for fun, so I'll have to just give it my all here. Now I accidentally got a little bit of this sticky white stuff on me. I mean it kind of reminded me of some other texture, but I can't quite put my finger on it. So anyways, for that 1-to-1 measurement, I in the end just decided to wing it and just squeeze both tubes at the same rate so that even amount would come out. Now I do a little practice here because it's very important to get the hand movements all lined up and my wrists warmed up. But finally I can't really do any more procrastination and I just wing it and pour it in. Now this is pretty important that I get the right amount, because if I don't get enough, not the entire printed part will be covered and I'll just be left with a half finished mould and I can't really pour any more onto it. If I have too much, it's gonna just gush out all over the table, which is not good. And I need to mix this fairly quickly because I think I only have 1 minute or so to mix it. It's just a mixing process that has to go fairly quickly so it can all react together and do magic basically. After it's kind of mixed up, I have like 10 minutes to push my form in and get it the way I want. So I have a bit more time here. Now at this point I started to panic a little bit because I realized I hadn't poured enough of the 2 silicone parts. So here you can see me frantically shaking the 2 tubes and squeezing down on them so hard that my entire arm vibrated. And I'm just going to go back to mixing it and hope it works out, but I really don't know if this is going to turn out. And at this point my stir time of a minute is definitely over, so we'll see. And after all this hard work and stress, I treated myself to a little snack. And after all this comes the most stressful part, which is actually dunking the mould in. And as you can see, it completely failed and it just broke off of the printer filament because the glue was just absolute shite. I tried to salvage it and push it down so that everything would be covered in silicone, but in the process I tipped it and definitely dunked it on the bottom, which would mean the resulting silicone mould would just have a hole in the bottom, which isn't great. But at this point I don't have any choice than to just let it cure and hope for the best. Yeah, this turned out pretty bad.
So terrible. Oh no.
Well, that went pretty smoothly, didn't it? I negotiated with this little bug here that it can just not touch the silicone, otherwise it would be imbued in it and then later be engulfed in molten tin. So I think we don't have to worry about him causing us any trouble. Now, thank you very much for watching if you've made it this far. There's definitely going to be a part 2 where I actually cast it, but it now has to dry up, so I don't really have much more to do. If you couldn't tell, this is my first video that I made, so I don't know, feedback I guess. And also let me know if you're interested in more projects, because I just do stupid shit all the time, so recording it or not doesn't make a huge deal of a difference to me. So yeah, let me know, and yeah, bye.